I am so excited. I've been using Nori Paste for a long time, many years, but but I just found out there's something even this morning. I love learning new things. But so traditionally Nori Paste, I mean, it's like what Phoebe said. It does a lot of, it's got a lot of purposes. A little goes a long way. It's actually safe for children. There are some preserves. If you were to make a starch-based paste yourself, which you can, you have to refrigerate it. It has a very short shelf life. I mean, that's one thing we didn't mention. I've had this jar, I think for, I don't know, a couple years maybe, and it doesn't need to be refrigerated. And the reason it doesn't need that is it has a food-safe preservative in it and a little bit of a mordant, which I'll explain why I'm excited about that. So it's a starch paste that you could make at home, but better yet, it's ready to go. It doesn't need refrigeration, and it'll last you a long time. But by the way I'm going to be using it, I don't think my jar is going to last very long. So I'm going to just kind of explain. These are some things. I do bookbinding with Nori Paste, and the reason I do bookbinding is with it is that I like that it gives the slow drying time, and it allows my papers to be repositioned and moved around on the book board. So it's just a very nice, it's great for bookbinding. And what I usually do, that I'll just kind of give you a little bit of some information about that. I always mix it with a neutral pH adhesive, like PVA. Could be this brand, it could be Elmer's white glue. I mix it about half and half. And what that does, mixing the Nori Paste with the neutral pH, it gives me a higher tack, which the white glue does, but it allows me to move it around. It gives me time to reposition, and it also my papers are less likely to tear as I'm trying to reposition. Have you ever tried to put wallpaper on a wall? I mean, just think of that, sticky paper everywhere. The Nori Paste kind of takes time for the bond to happen. It actually bonds fully after it's drying. So that's why I just love having both of these. So I just want to give you that little information about that. So I'll just kind of go through the traditional uses. I use Nori Paste to bond my sumi paintings. And I'm going to show you how I do that. And I think what I might try to do is, I think that I need to get my camera out a little bit farther out for you. So I'm just going to try to fix that in a second here. And I think I'm going to zoom it out a little bit. There you are. So what I'll do is I'm going to show you how I do this, and I'll tell you all about the supplies. And if you have any questions, of course, Phoebe will let me know. I'll look in the chat or whatever. But this has been coated, and you can see the difference. One that's just on the rice paper itself. This is our 6H paper. It's kind of a student grade paper. It's a little on the heavier side, but even you can actually mount paintings that are on the more delicate side, and it will give that opacity. You can even see between the two, this is a much brighter white than this one, and that's because I've actually created a double thick paper using the Nori Paste. And so I'll show you how I do that in a minute. Then Nori Paste is awesome for collage, of course. And I have got some little collage pieces that I've been working on and little different mixed media stuff. You can use it. It's amazing. You can paint over it. That's what Nori Paste, it does have that mordant, so it will help fix your paints a little bit. And one thing I discovered today, and I'm so excited about, is that I was able to do jelly printing, monoprinting with it, using watercolor, not alcohol ink, not acrylics. It made my job of cleaning up my jelly plate so much easier. And I was inspired by a video, a woman out of the UK. She does woodblock printing using Nori Paste as the painting medium. And I kind of wanted to share that with you. She used it like you would a painting medium. So instead of a golden, or instead of an acrylic medium, you would use the Nori Paste as your medium. And that allowed me to put it on my plate without, it had some beading up, but I kind of liked that because it kept the little white areas. But it was an amazing process. So that will come, I'm sure we'll do a tutorial on that, but I wanted to share with you that it's something I just discovered today, and oh boy, now I'm hooked. So that was just with plain old watercolors. I had used some Chinese watercolors, and I used Japanese watercolors. along with the nori paste, I mixed it, made a medium, and brayered on the paint right on, or the watercolor right onto the jelly plate, and I made my little prints, and just fabulous, so much fun. So, and I also painted these black lines directly on the jelly plate, and I was able to make a monoprint. So super easy, fun, and easy to clean up. So there will be more coming on that. I wanted to share that with you. The first thing I'm going to show several projects. The first one is the traditional use that I've always found. I'm just going to grab a piece of glass just so I have something to not mess my table up. I've got a plain piece of rice paper. It has a smooth side and a rough side. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I painted always. We traditionally paint our paintings. We paint them on the smooth side, and so the rough side is the two rough sides I'm going to put together. And what I'm going to need, and if you were to do this, this is what you'll need. You'll need your nori paste, a little bit of like a dish, like I've got a dish here, and some nori paste. I've got a glue brush, which you can use a bristle brush if you have just a plain one of these. Your fingers would work too, but a brush you need though to put on the glue onto, or the paste onto the right onto the paper. You also need a spray bottle, and I fill mine with distilled water because I just think it's best, especially if you're doing something you want to be archival. I have a lot of hard water in my area, so distilled water, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So what I first do is I'm going to mix up. I think I'm going to bring this down a little bit. I'm going to just bring my table farther. There we go. I want you to see it. Okay, so I've got the paste. I have the big jar because I'm planning. I think nori paste is, as long as you don't put color on it, you could put your diluted paste right back in the jar. So I'm just going to take some of it. I'm going to dilute it. I think I'm just go ahead and put my fingers in it. It won't hurt me to do that. And if you're worried about glue getting on your fingers, it won't dry. It dries like it's resoluble in water, so you don't need to worry about it. You can wash it right out. If you have get it on your clothes, you can wash it out. It's just super fun to work with. So I'm just going to take some water, and I'm just going to put just going to dilute it a little bit, just to thin it a little bit. Not tons, but I don't want it super runny. I kind of want it like melted ice cream. Right now it's a little heavier than that, so I'm just gonna, so you can see how far this will go. This is gonna go far. So I'm gonna mix that, but while I'm waiting, I'm going to take the painting and I'm gonna just turn it over, and I'm gonna spritz the back of it. And I'm gonna spritz it lightly with my distilled water. So the reason I'm doing that is I'm stretching out the fibers a little bit. I'm gonna just stretch the fiber. It's going to expand. That's normal. And I'm also going to spritz the back of my back paper too. Just spritz just enough to swell those fibers up a little bit. And then I'm going to mix my paste. And I could use a spoon. This one, I don't know about this one. I don't think I should use this. I think I just might use a brush. It's a lot easier. I can just use the glue brush that I'm using. So it's still a little thick, so I'm just going to add some more water. And like I said, I kind of want it into a melted ice cream consistency. And plenty of water. I don't want globs. And it really dilutes very nicely. And I can have the nori paste has a lot of open time. It won't skin over like regular glues, but if you feel like you want to moisten it, just spritz it with a little water just to keep it happy, so that if you want to leave the jar open. So now I've got it to the consistency I think I like. It's nice. You don't need a lot of glue. I'm going to go ahead and add some more. So there it is. Now it's where I want it. So now you could see, if you could see, it's just kind of it's still not dripping. It's not dripping off my brush. It's on there. So now that I've let this sort of swell up, I'm going to paint the back of it. I'm going to gently brush it on with a soft bristle brush, or a sheep hair brush would work great too. So you start and you just brush it on the back, going from the center outwards. And you're just going to get that glue on the whole, just cover the whole back of it. And I want that glue to soak into the fibers of the paper. And if I were to do this with other glues, of course, you know, it would be a mess. Things would stick everywhere, and oh boy, it would stick to the brush. It would start to tear. But I can take my time here, and I want those fibers to expand. So I want this paper to sort of flatten out. So the more, and it doesn't matter if I get a little glue on the front of it either. It's just going to disappear. So here I've got the paste, the diluted mixture. I'd say that was 50% water, maybe, and 50% glue. And I could also, if I wanted to back the paper, I could, but I'm not going to today. I think I have plenty of glue that's going to soak right in to the paper. So I'm going to spritz it, but I want to spritz the rough side, get it just a little damp. And now I'm just going to lay it right on top of my painting. And I'm going to take my lovely printing baron, and I've got some release paper. This is just some deli wrap. And I'm going to, because I don't want to harm the surface of the paper, I'm just going to burnish it with my baron. That's properly pronounced. And now I'm just going to lift the release paper, or just a wax paper. And what I should do now is just set this aside somewhere to dry, and then I can pop it off. But I do want to show you what it looks like, even though I should wait, but I'm going to be impatient. See how once that dries, I'm going to just put that in between heavy papers, and then once everything dries, this will all be very white and opaque. Right now, there's water on it. So it did beautifully. It didn't spread the ink around, and it will dry invisible. It'll look beautiful. So I'm just going to leave it like that, and I'll show, maybe after I'm finished with all the other things, I'll be able to show you what it looks like. But there it is. So I'm just going to let that sit on there. I'll just set it aside because I think I'm going to use it for something else. Okay, so I've done that. Now the next thing I want to show you, what I think is amazing, what I've discovered today, which, well, I've never used it before as a medium, but I found it's amazing. You can see on the sumi painting here, I'm going to bring it up a little closer so you can see it a little bit better. I'm going to zoom it in. I want to show you something. Okay, see, this has sumi ink mixed with nori as a medium, and this is just sumi ink plain on the paper. This is the 6H paper. When you turn it over, you can see the nori it acted like a sizing or a medium. I could size this paper with nori, that would be great, but just mixing it with the ink really gave it this nice, I was able to go slower in my brush strokes, and I'll show you how I did that. I'm going to take a little piece of paper and just grab a little small piece, and I'm going to mix a little bit of the ink. I'm just going to bring that back so you can see it better. There you go. Okay. So I'm going to take a little bit of, got some sumi ink here. This is our black ink. There's nothing in it except, well, I don't know what's in it. It's just carbon, but it might have a little something in there to give it more permanence. Anyway, but it's still just sumi ink. And so if I just work with it without adding anything, I'm going to show you what happens. So a brush stroke, just a regular brush stroke. I'll go ahead and wet my brush a little bit. And I'm going to just do a normal brush stroke with this ink. And maybe I'll just do a little leaf here. I'll make a leaf, and I'll go kind of slow. And you can see it has a little bit of bleeding, or feathering is the word. I've got some feathering going out of that. I'll just do another one real quick to show you. So, and if I slow my brush down, if I pause, which I'm just going to slow it down and just let it just sit, you can see it will bleed into the paper. And as I go up, and I'm going to pause, you can see it kind of it just soaks in. These are desirable things when you're painting. But if you work fast, you can get fine lines. If you work slow, you can get, it just soaks in. Okay, and that will prove on the back, it's very dark. So what I want to do is show you how fun this is, because if you want to alter, you just want to alter your experience a little bit. I'm going to put some of that mixture, that nori that's already here. I'm not putting a whole lot. I'm just putting, you can see I've got just a little bit on the corner. And I'm going to mix that in with my ink. And now I have a different type of ink. It's going to be more like, it'll be a different. It has the mordant in it. It has that starch that's going to make this a little different experience. So I'm going to do the same leaf shape. I'll just start it down here, and I'll go slow. I'm able to get a really fine line. I'm even pausing, and I'm getting a beautiful fine line without any feathering at all. I mean, it's just me. I'm just hooked on this. This is going to be my new best friend because now I can draw on sumi paper, on rice paper, which I love. I love the surface, and now I can be a little less spontaneous. I can be more mindful, if that makes sense, when I'm drawing now. So that's something that you can do as you can actually just add a little bit of nori paste to your inks, and you can just get a totally amazing effect. This will also fix it more into the rice paper. Not that it really needs it because rice paper and ink usually don't separate, but so you can see the difference between these two. So I wanted to share that really new discovery that I had today with that. So that is a fun thing. So the other thing I wanted to tell you about nori, the original reason that I kind of fell in love with it actually, is I found that nori paste, I'm just going to clean this off a little. Nori paste was amazing for collage, of course, paper crafting, which is pretty much my favorite thing beside painting. And I'm just going to get this ready. So the first one thing, I think it's on our website. I painted some paper and I made these really cool luminarias. So I'll show you what I did. I used our 6 MMU rice paper, which has some beautiful silvery white feather fibers going through, and it's really strong. And if you see through it, it actually has a very beautiful, it's gorgeous with the light coming through. So by itself, it's beautiful, but it's also beautiful when you paint it, when you color it. You can see this fiber, the fibers even show more. This is just a simple, this one, the craft paint, I just diluted it and painted it right on. And what I had to do to get it ready for, to do this is not a perfect, this actually has a little bit of an angle. And so if it was a straight up and down cylinder, it would be easy. I would just cut a piece of paper straight, no problem. But I had to cut it kind of an odd shape. And how I did that was I took my jar and I'll just show you with this one, piece of paper. I took my jar and I just wrapped it around, and then I cut where the seams met. And then I just took my paper and bent it right at the top. So I knew where to cut basically then I took scissors and then I knew where the line was. So that's how I was able to make the right shape. And here it is right here, ready to work with the nori paste. So that was the little trick there. Same thing, I'm gonna just use this diluted stuff because I really don't need a heavy duty coat of it. So you'll know that nori goes a long way. So I'm gonna first do is I'm gonna just put on the back of my paper, I'm just gonna brush a nice heavy coat of paste. And I'm gonna let it sit because the paper, again, needs to expand and drink up that paste a little bit so that, because it will get a little bit, it'll swell up. I'm going to do the same thing on this little disc, this little circle that I'm going to use for the bottom. Just going to kind of get it ready. I could have also sprayed it, but I think why not just use it, get the glue straight on. So I've got plenty of paste there. I probably don't need to put it on my cup, but in fact, I don't think I'm going to need it. I'm just going to start now that it's had a moment to swell. Here's the beauty about using nori paste is I'm going to be able to just slide this around on my glass, which, can you imagine? I've tried it with glue and I have not had much luck. So I'm just moving it around and I'm just going to just position it until I get this nice, beautiful, it's beautiful right on there. The only thing I need to do is I'm going to take the bottom. You can see I've got this rough edge here. And when I'm still able to reposition. Like right now, I can still take it off and move it and change my mind, move it around. That's the beauty of it. I'm going to take some scissors. I'm going to cut little notches right to the back of the glass. maybe not a whole lot, maybe they're about a half an inch apart, but that's kind of like the egg. If you had ever covered eggs or thought about covering eggs, this is how you get your paper around an uneven surface.
We have a quick question. The coating for watercolor painting?
Oh, so like basically if you want to size your paper, if you have a paper that might be too absorbent, or you want, yes, you can watercolor over it. You can also mix watercolor with it if you want. So, and it doesn't leave a shine. So I've got the little thing going. It doesn't leave a shine, so it won't alter the sheen of your paint. So yes, you can paint over it and under it, and you can mix it with the watercolor. And I could show you, if you're interested, I'll show you how I mix the watercolor and paint with it. So yes, you can. I was able to get that on very nicely, and when it dries, it's going to dry totally invisible. There won't be any evidence that there was glue on there. It'll feel really nice. It won't have a sticky shine or anything. And you know, just like for like these little dots, I cut them out of the same paper that I did today, and I can just stick it right on the paper that's already, this one is dried earlier, but I can just put little dots on and create all kinds of little designs. And you could just see how it's just so easy to work with. Now that is my favorite way to use Nori, but now that I've discovered that it can be used as a painting medium, I'm even more thrilled and excited about it. So it's kind of, you can layer with it, you can paint over it. It is reversible in water, completely reversible, so that you know, if you wanted to remove it, like Phoebe said, if you wanted to do a screen, a rice paper screen or a mirror, or like if you wanted to have a privacy, you know, if you wanted to take your windows and make them have a soft, what's the word, like a soji screen looking thing, but it'd be on glass, you can paint, and I did this in the past. You can use the Nori paste, paint it on your glass, put the rice paper on, and then down the road, if you want to remove it, you just re-wet the paper and you will have no problems removing it, because it is 100% water reversible. And that's really important, especially when it comes to you know, something that's archival, because you can reverse it. So that's a good thing. You want to be able to reverse, you want to be able to change your mind. And there we go. Now we've got some dots on this, and I wanted to show you, you can also paint over it and it will dry invisible. There won't be any residue at all. So there's my little dots. That will be my luminaria with some dots. It doesn't look even, but who cares? I'll play with it later. But that's just something you can just keep layering with. And here I wanted to show you this little last one, the one that I had coated. The way I fixed the bottom is I just put a nice little circle on the bottom. And I have a little secret on how to cut circles out of rice paper, and I want to share with you. Normally, when you use a hole punch, if I can find my hole punch, there it is. If you use a hole punch with fibrous papers, have you ever seen, I'm going to just show you a little demo here. You just put it through a single layer, and usually it grabs. You see what happened? It doesn't, the fibers cause, they just don't cut all the way through. And I've noticed that a lot. So, but what I found is if you just take the same paper and you fold it into several layers, get that paste out of there real quick. I'm just going to do several layers right here. And now I'm going to use the same hole punch. And here we go. Now that didn't do it this time. That's funny. But it did pretty well. It went through most of the layers really nicely, and I was able to get several dots. Well, that's because I had it folded funny, but there you go. So I have nice clean dots. And I mean, that's just something, is a little trick. If you have fibrous papers that don't like to go through your little punch, then just put some more paper in between, get some more layers, and it should work just great. Now here's a little thing I had prepared beforehand, and I don't want to miss anything. This is a little collage that I kind of got started. This was this rice paper, the same rice paper I painted with watercolor and then drew with a permanent pen and did some doodling and then cut it out with scissors. And I've got my little collage ready to assemble. So this is it's a masonite panel. Ampersand makes these. These are very handy because they're already hard. And I like doing collage on a hard substrate. It's okay to do it on something not as hard, but you're going to have to probably flatten it somehow between things. So I'm going to use the nori straight out of the jar right now. And I'm going to use some paper, if I can grab it. This is my paper that I'll just kind of use to kind of barrier paper that I might use. And I might use the Baron too. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to put a coating of the nori straight on my surface here. Just painting it right on. Maybe a little mixture, the one with a little bit of the water in it too. But straight out of the jar is fine. I'm just going straight in this jar. And I've got a little glue brush. I like using a glue brush because I don't like it on my fingers, but some of it's on my fingers and it's going to wash off easily. So no, I won't worry there. So this is paper that it's actually origami paper that I jelly printed actually. I kind of addicted to that. So, so I'm just going to put a little bit of the glue also on, and I cut the paper ahead of time to this just a little bit under the size of the board. So this is a 5-inch board. I cut the paper 4 and 7/8. So I've got a little border, and I kind of want that. I'm just going to lay it on and just push it in. I'm going to paint right over it, in fact, because I am going to be layering. So I've got that, it's already on there, and if I want to move it around and reposition it, this is the time to do it. I'm just going to use my fingers and kind of push it on there. And then the second piece is some paper. Same thing, some origami paper that's been printed. And this is actually our use-in paper. So the use-in paper has some fibers in it, which is nice. It's very fibrous and very strong, and I really like it. And it doesn't tear easily unless you want it to. It's more like fabric, actually. It's got beautiful fibers in it. But my jelly printing kind of covered that up. So now I'm just painting right over it. And what I like about Nori Paste too, if you have fibers on your paper, the fibers are going to be really gorgeous. They really look great. So the next thing in my layering thing is I've got this paper. I'm just going to go straight on. I'm going to just position it onto my panel here. The same, I just glued it pretty much the same. I just basically cut it to the same, and I can always position it just to get it to lay right the way I want it. There we go. And I'm just layering and brushing right over. And if I want, I can wrinkle. This stuff actually has some wrinkly. I can push it around and I can make kind of fun little wrinkles if I want. But I'm going to kind of leave it sort of straight. And I'm just going to push it. I see that I need to move it around, but I'm just kind of merging all those fibers together. But what will happen is these will dry back to its original state. So the same thing, I'm going to lay my little picture that I drew, right? Maybe kind of offset it a little bit. I don't want it to be smack in the middle. And I'm going to go straight over it with the nori. And moving from the center out, and it kind of looks more transparent right now, but it will become more opaque once it dries. And now the thing that I like to do, pretty much I've got it laid out the way I like it. I was going to add some little pure paper elements, and I may decide, yes, I'm going to just go ahead and stick those on. This is some origami paper. It's color all the way through, so it just looks really, really pretty. And I might just add some drawing elements afterwards. Maybe, just depends. I'm just going to put that right over and maybe brush a little glue, a little of the paste mixture over it just to get it down there. And I can move it around as I wish, which is really fun. Now, what's nice too about the nori is I can draw over it, paint over it. So, there's more I can do over this. So I'm just going to take once I've got my elements down, and I've got a lot of paste on this, a lot. I'm just going to, hopefully I won't pull off some of it, but I'm just going to burnish it down.
We have another question real quick.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you can use a sponge brush to apply the nori paste.
A sponge brush would be great. Yes, absolutely. A sponge brush, though, let's see, I'm going to pull this up gently. A sponge brush will probably not let you push the paste in as deeply, through the fibers of the paper, but it still will work. But just make sure it's on the drier side instead of on the wetter side. So that has to dry, and then when it's completely dry, That's the collage, and it'll be fun. I'll take a picture of it and show everybody when it's completely dry. It'll look like just like a little painting, and I won't need to do anything. I won't need to fix it or put anything over it. See what else? I think I might have showed you everything. Let's see. I think, does anybody have any questions? Because I think I showed you everything. Oh, I could show you how I back coated this. I don't think I did show you how to, yes, I did show you how to do the sumi painting. And let me pull that up for you so you can see. It's still very wet, and Nori paste is a very slow drying product, so you'll be surprised at how long you can leave the jars open. But this one is the one that not completely dry because I did it this morning, so but you can see the opacity, the bright white of this one as compared to this one. But once this is dry, it's going to look just like the other one. And a little trick that I do, oh, I forgot something I want to show you. What I like to do is I like to be perfectly flat. I usually, once this is dry, I'll spritz it again on the back, and I'll put it between two heavy books to really flatten it. And that's how I get all my pictures nice and flat. I forgot that I had to wanted to do these on the sides of that, and I'll show you how fun. So to complete my little collage, and look how quickly that was. It didn't take that long to prepare it. So I'm just going to put some glue, some paste right onto this, to the back of the strip of paper that I cut just to fit right on the sides here, because I want it to be a complete, oops, and I needed to put some paste on it so that I can move it around. Now I can just kind of move it, slide it on, position it, and get it just the way I want it before I really press down. And I'm going to smooth it a little bit, and there I've got this really beautiful edge, and I'm going to do that all the way around. I'm just going to take, and that kind of finishes the whole piece. Now I've got a complete collage that I really like, and the paint was only basically, it was just a base coat, kind of like a primer, even though it's not necessary to prime, but it kind of helped to do that. I think it makes for a nicer finished product, finished piece. And see how nice and flat that dries? And some people in the past would say, oh, it wrinkled my project. Yes, it will wrinkle because it has so much moisture in it. Nori paste, if you use with light paper to light paper or light paper to a medium weight paper, any combination thereof, you're going to have some buckling, and that's normal. You can achieve a beautiful flat finish by pressing, but make sure when you press it while it's still wet, because it just won't work unless you press it while it's wet. And then give yourself plenty of time to dry. And that's the thing, the patience. And I live in a dry climate, but it still takes a while for my Nori paste projects to dry because it just has so much moisture, and it's made out of yummy ingredients. And I've got glue all over my fingers, but what's happening is my paper is not sticking to my fingers. And that's the beauty of it. It's not sticking, I'm not having that problem where you have glue sticking all over your fingers and it's everywhere. And here I'm having a wonderful experience. And I'm just able to move this. You can see I'm able to position that paper. And if I wanted to, I could finish this after it's dry. And it's going to take probably hours to dry because I really coated it with a lot. But once it's completely dry, if I wanted to coat it with let's say a gel medium or a varnish, I could do that. And I can use, that's not a problem. You can layer over with your Nori paste with no problem at all. So there it is. And I think what I could do, a little, oops, now I've got a mess. Now I've got stuff that's messy, but the nice thing is my cleanup is going to be so easy because I don't have, it's not going to just destroy everything, which glues they can be a challenge. And Nori paste for me is like one of the most unchallenging. It's so fun to work with. Like this one, I might just take my dots just to finish up. I'm just going to cut a straight line, cut the dots in half. I'll move that out of the way. I'll cut my dots in half, and I'm just going to use my remaining paste with my fingers and just place them on my candle holder because I plan to use these later. I think this will be so pretty. I'm just going to put it on there, and now I'm going to move it. See how I got it up there a little too high? Well, that's okay. I'm just going to lift it off and move it. I could never do that with any delicate paper or just paper in general. I can't do that.
How long would you say the drying time is about?
It's going to take, depending on how thick you apply it. Like that one I had showed you, it was this morning that I did it, and it's still not dry completely. So I'd say several hours, depending on what type of environment you're in. I'm in the desert. I'm in a much drier climate than many, and it's taking quite a bit of time. So I'd say overnight, if you want to press your projects ahead of time, press them and just leave them overnight and just let them dry completely. And that will be the safest way. But even if it doesn't dry and it's still kind of damp, put it back, let it press a little longer. Because if you're using thin papers and you're worried about them buckling, they need to be completely dry after pressing. So if they're still damp, just put them back and let them press a little longer, because just even slight dampness will make them kind of curl up again. And that's normal because it's moisture, and I think the rate of the paper, and there's probably a physical, scientific reason why, but I just know in my experience that it just takes time, and I can't really tell you depending on where you live. The good news, because it has a preservative, which if you were to make your own, it would be kind of hard to do this. But sometimes I've heard people that have made their own pastes, and then they have a little molding problem because they put it between plastic papers and they leave it in for days or so, and then they get a little mold. And that's going to happen because if it doesn't have a preservative. And this stuff has a little bit of a preservative, which gives you that time to, it won't mold no matter what. So there's my little luminaria, and I'm ready to light that. And the reason I do these glass covered ones rather than paper is then the glass will protect the flame from the paper, obviously. And I'm ready to go. And then these, so with this one, the jelly printed one that I did, you can see because it has the nori paste, it didn't soak much through the rice paper. And I think it'd be fun to try this on much more thinner papers, like some of the delicate papers that we have that are much thinner in body, but are really pretty cool to work on. I think it's going to be fun using the nori paste as a medium to make thicker inks. So you can see in this ink, it's a lot thicker. And I'm just going to see what happened here. So it also is probably a slower drying ink. I'm just going to think, yeah, I believe this is a much slower drying ink now. And it's really beautiful to work with. So I'm excited about that. And I can also take some of my pre-painted papers, like this one. I think it's going to look really neat. If I wanted to do some little brush painting over it, I can get some really fine lines and little marks if I want. Yep, very fun. So working with just using it as a painting medium, if you're not into doing collage, if you just want to have a little control over the amount of absorbency that your inks will have on the particular paper you're using, and that includes watercolor paper. I've got some watercolor papers, they're funny. Some will just suck up they just drink that paint up, and some it floats completely on. So if I do have a paper that I thought was really nice, it cost kind of a lot of money. I don't want to throw it away. I wasn't happy that it was so absorbent. So I'm going to brush some nori paste on it and let it dry. A thin coating though. And I'm going to let it dry, and I'm going to try my paper, and I will let you know the results. But I think it's going to be a game changer. Just, if you want, or even some of the inexpensive papers that you might have that you don't want to spend a lot, but you want that floating, you want your paint to float on top. That's what you can use nori paste for. So, and you can see how I can go very slow and really make some nice little lines without that feathering, which is really nice. So maybe I will start to work now more with a brush rather than a pen, because I've got this gorgeous control that I would normally have if I was to use a marker. But I could never get this with rice paper ever in my life. So I'm just really super thrilled about that. And if you're going to do it after, I'm going to most likely not. And the reason being is because watercolor paper, of course, gum arabic is a water soluble product. So gum arabic is also reversible, I believe. I may be wrong, but it's also a medium that is used for watercolors. So if you're going to be using it after you've painted, you'll probably get some smearing. I'm just going to pretty much guarantee you'll get some smearing. On acrylics, no problem. Over acrylics, you can do it. But I'm just going to size my watercolor paper, and of course, I'm not going to be able to tell you what's going to happen. I'll just size part of it, and then, or just put I've got a little paste over it, and it might be too much paste. I think I might have put too much, but I mean, I can always dab it off with a little paper towel, and I'm going to let that sit, and I'm going to paint, and I'll see what the difference is. What I think that you would really enjoy, though, with Nori, if you're using it as a watercolor medium, I'm just going to do a little bit of, I'm going to show you a little demo here. I'm just going to grab some blue paint, some watercolor. Oops, that's a lot. Didn't mean to have that much. And then maybe a little red. And these are some Chinese watercolors, but you can use any tubed watercolor that you have. If I've seen, grab a little bit here. Any tubed watercolor will work. This happens just to be at my fingertips. There we go. That's more of an orange. I don't know if I want to use orange, but anyway, I'm just going to mix it a little bit with, and of course, I got to grab a new brush, and I'm just going to mix it up just a slight amount with the Nori. And I want to use it as a medium. And of course, I didn't have my water dish, so that's all right. I'm just going to fill it with, I have to improvise. So there's some clear water, and I'm going to take a little bit of the medium. I could mix it, it's kind of dirty there, but that's all right. All right, I'm going to mix a little bit of watercolor with it. And I want to just see the difference on how it flows. I'm going to use the back of this paper that I just pulled out, back of the sheet, and we'll just see how it behaves. So what I'm noticing, so the difference between, I see that it kind of changes the viscosity of the paint, of course. It's not going to hurt it at all, but it will change it. And I think it will act more as it's interesting because I'm able to, this is Chinese watercolors though. It's not your traditional Western or European, but I think it will kind of work. It will probably help with washes if you're doing a graduated wash. I'm really gonna I think it will be beautiful mixing it when you're doing a graduated wash, because I can see that it really gives a smooth laydown of color. And if that kind of resonates with you, mixing it with watercolor is what I would recommend. I don't think I would recommend painting with Nori Paste to seal it or anything, because it really doesn't act as a sealer. But it will act as a medium, and it will maybe kind of help the flow. It looks like, I'm seeing a big difference. It doesn't granulate as much. And if I had a dry piece, see, if this Nori Paste was dry, which it isn't, this piece right here, I put Nori on it, but I doubt it's dry, but I'll try. Let's see. If I could hit it with a hairdryer and see. So this is the Nori Paste side. So I'm able to paint over it, no problem. And it acts as a beautiful sizing. So it is safe to paint over it, but I wouldn't paint Nori Paste over your watercolors. I hope that answers your question.
Georgia says she can't wait to try this. And I think we're getting a lot of that excitement in the comments. People are really inspired to just see what they can create.
Well, just have fun with it. And that's really, and you really can't do anything wrong. There's really nothing wrong you can do. You can just keep playing and pushing those boundaries, see what you can do. Just who knows, that's what happened with the jelly plate today, I just said, I'm going to try it. And I was so happy with the results. I mean, I was able to get these really cool patterns and prints without having to clean, using the hand sanitizer and the whole 9 yards. It was nice. So I'm going to keep exploring that, and we'll have lots of fun with it. And I'll just kind of show you the progress of drying. Now, this won't dry till tomorrow, but it's starting to get less transparent now, this little collage. So as it starts to dry, I would never suggest hitting it with a hairdryer. Like I tried this morning to try to speed things up, and all it did was buckle my paper even more. When I had it on regular paper, it just bowed it even more. So just patience is a good thing when you're working with nori paste. Just let it dry naturally, let the water evaporate naturally, and then once it's completely dry, it is very stable. It's like a very stable surface. You'll feel like this is getting pretty dry. It's so stable, but if I were to wet it, it will reverse. I can peel this off. If I wanted to soak this candle holder and do another one, I could. But if I want to make it permanent, here's another thing. You can go over this with acrylic medium, varnish, and if you wanted to finalize something, if you don't want it to be reversible in water, just varnish it with an acrylic-based medium, and you'll be good to go. So there it is. I'm excited about this one. I may go ahead and coat it, but if I do, I may go into the danger of making this rice paper transparent again. So I think I'm just going to leave it alone. And then I may draw some little lines. And I could do that actually while I'm here and I have my paste mixture of paint. I'm just going to do it. So I'm just going to take my intention, I'm hoping I can do it here without ruining it, because that's a permanent mark, but I wanted to do like little lines. Yes, exactly. Just little lines that indicate or give the feeling of a flower growing or plant growing. So I'm able to do that with the nori paste that has the sumi ink with nori, and that will make it more permanent on the substrate as well. So there it is. So there, it's all done. I love that. And I could also draw little lines. I could do that with light colors or dark colors, draw little lines into the flowers. I think I might try to do that with a light color, maybe some metallic or something, but I'll stop now while I'm ahead. But so there you go. And I'm hoping that this inspired you to try using nori paste and just having it in your stash of art supplies. It's another thing that you can't tell here, but it smells delicious. It has a beautiful scent. It's not perfumey by any means, but it has a nice, clean, it's not like a detergent. It just has a nice scent, and it's just really pleasant to work with and easy to store. You can have a jar like this, and it's not going to go bad for many years. But I'm hoping with what I'm going to be doing with this from now on, I think it's going to probably go down pretty fast. So there's so many things you can do with it, and I'm hoping that today's demo inspired you a little bit.